Well, so there you have it.
So I was gonna say, like, I know you did a lot of your scripting ahead of time. Did you make any changes? What were some of the changes that you decided?
Yes, I did make a change.
What else?
Basically, the story was, as you guys remember from when we met a couple weeks ago, it was like this from the start. So she's childhood friends with him, and then she hands him a letter, and then I actually forgot to put a point in where she says, "Oh, Sho-chan's coming back today." Like in my original rough draft, he just shows up, and everyone's just like, "Yay, he's back!"
Hey,
wait a minute. There was no one ever said he was coming back. At what point did you think he was coming back? So
I read it when I heard it. It was just like, there's a new guy who comes to school, and it turns out that it's him. That's how I read it the first time when you did the draft. So it would have worked that way too, but then
that would have worked as well.
Too much time to establish. If he has such a different character, how does she like realize it's the same person after all these years?
That's the thing. Yeah, I think absolutely. If this were like 21 pages or like a 30-page one-shot or 40-page one-shot or something, there would have been more time to do that. But
this is really interesting because I know that during the name-making process or the rough draft, we're supposed to work. I had a similar problem, or not problem, but like changing the script on the fly. Ideally, they want you to be off, like have everything like already locked in, and then it's just you're focusing on the art. But I feel that while we're drawing these roughs, ideas show up suddenly. You're like, oh man, I can kind of go this direction. And, you know what I mean? And you can experiment. But I guess professionals, I guess they have more time. No, they don't have any time. What am I talking about? I'm curious to see how much they play around in the naming processes. Because like I know I talked to Mikey, and Mikey's like saying that's the hardest part actually, because you're having to make these decisions and changes on the fly. Because like, look, like you have so many things that are worked out and polished up, but you still had like moments where you're like, you know what, let me just try changing it up a little bit and finding discrepancies. And I think that's where editor comes in and says, hey, when is that guy supposed to show up? Or, you know, cause like we know the stories in our head, but until you verbalize it or show it to somebody else, they might not pick up on it. So really interesting.
That's exactly what it was. When I showed you the rough draft, it all like kind of made sense because I had like scribbled things out and it all seemed kind of comical. And then when I actually drew it, there was one scene in particular that didn't work at all. So it's completely different actually. So when I showed you guys the rough draft, it had got up to this page and I hadn't drawn anything after that. After that, I drew some story where basically she doesn't go to the classroom. They actually go to the auditorium. And there's like an all-class assembly, and he's standing at the front of the assembly with Sachi, and he says, "I have an announcement," and then he says over the loudspeaker, he's like standing on the stage. He goes, "I'm here to announce that I've come to marry Miki." Oh! I wanted to like draw her in a sort of surprised face, like she's like, "Wait, you want to marry me, but I've just decided I don't want to confess to you anymore because you're like such a jerk now." But it just came off really forced, and it was like very, very sudden. It was just like, wait, I didn't know how to feel at the end. It's just like, is she happy? Is she sad? At least in this way, because what he says is kind of vague, then it's okay for her like feelings to also be a kind of vague.
Yeah, this is so interesting because like I think the more time you spend with your piece, you start living in these characters a lot. So you can I totally understand like people that do long or series, they go, well, I know this character would be feeling this, and it affects your writing too. So like you were able to change things on the fly, or like on the fly, but like when you're revising the script, you know this is congruent with this character. You know what I mean? So I can make this change. It feels right.
Sorry, like did you guys have that? Because I had that with sometimes in certain situations with my characters. I'm like, I could go this way, but I feel like my character wouldn't be doing that.
Right. Yeah. Like with the slouching after like she's like, I can't do this anymore. And like the hamburger dude was like, all right, look, I'll walk you to the train station. He was, at first he was going to be kind of sad, but he's like, that's not his character right now. You know what I mean? I was thinking what he's thinking a little bit more as opposed to what kind of like I wanted to draw at the time, you know? So I had to make the correction. That's interesting.
Yeah. So also what I find interesting is here that we got to meet Sachi. It's not in that way, but
in what way?
Introduction of a new character we didn't expect. And because the first thing I think of as a girl here is, why did he change? Why is he a jerk now?
Kathy's point is really good. It's like you do wonder like why, because I haven't got a lot of apart from Sachi, there's really no evidence. There's no like there are no clues as to why he's become
So my first
like
thing
a
is
bad
that
dude
for
now.
whatever reason, Sachi is the reason, because she's the one who also seems to boss him around and says, "Oh, let's not do this anymore." And it's like, okay,
Exactly.
if you say so, Sachi. So that's
exactly.
the only reason you can see right now for him having become the jerk that he is now. Something is going on there. Some fishy business is going on there.
Ooh.
Yes. That. But then, no, actually, that's 100% the point, because again, in only 10 pages, like I have to have like this guy go from being something to being something else, and then like also having to like introduce reasons and explaining, like, do you know what I mean? Like from what I've seen in like Japanese TV dramas, it's like the dude has to seem like the wrong match for at least 6 or 7 episodes. And it can't like be until episode 8 that you like discover, oh, he was in a car accident when he was a kid, and then this is the reason why, you know, he's...
I wouldn't wait that long. If, for example, like if you think of Hana Yori Dango, the main protagonist, the guy, at the start he's really mean. He's a real jerk. Like you're jerk. And he's rich and he's famous, but he's really mean. But then you start seeing in the later episodes that he's actually a nice person, and you kind of like, you know, you change your opinion about him. If you leave too much time though, if he's too extremely a jerk for too long time, some people might not be able to forgive him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I mean, I think, to be honest, I actually felt like I'd taken it a little bit too far when I had him chuck this dude. I was like,
that was comedy though.
I love that.
Do you want to know the reason why he chucks him? It's actually because in the original draft that I drew, he punches the guy to the ground.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a lot nicer.
He's holding him up with his right hand, and he slugs him with his left. I thought that was a little bit too graphic, and I thought if you chuck him, then you kind of just imagine what happens to him after he falls.
No, I get you. No, I just wanted to commend you. One thing I really wanted to say that you did really good is like at the beginning, you wanted just to have like 4 pages and look.
Yeah, and now you've done the
10
thing.
pages.
You've done the thing.
I was just sitting here. I was like, done 10 pages, and with more he can do. And I just want to say, like, seriously, congratulations. You did very good.
Yes.
And
thank you.
It looks like you enjoyed it. I know it's been hard to just find the will and the strength to complete, but look, at the end of the day, you've done it, and you've exceeded what you planned on doing too, which is amazing.
Also, what I found really nice, the way you can see now, if you look at the boy character and the girl character as kids, they haven't, like, you can see that's him, that's going to become him. He as a kid already has that kind of look to it. Mm-hmm. I found that, like, the first shot, it was like, oh, that already looks like the characters when they're older. So that was really clever. And also her hair and the way you did the very clever Shojo manga thing, which is sometimes the female protagonist is very plain, and then the male protagonist has light hair. That's like a very Shojo thing, because usually but in Shonen it's the other way around. In Shonen the guy is always super bland, super plain, and then the girls are all colors, shapes, and sizes.
I have a question for you then. You got kind of a workflow going and stuff. How long do you think it'll take you to finish the whole thing? And also, what's your average time it takes you to do like a page?
The plan, the original rough draft of the 10 pages, that came together over the course of like 2.5 days. And then the rest of it was like page by page, and it's like you had to like refine the rough and then do the line art, and that takes like, to be honest, I feel like it took me on page 1, because I wasn't like into the swing of it yet. Yeah, it took like an hour and a half to do one panel, like literally an hour and a half to do just this panel.
But look at that. I was just looking at this panel going like, my gosh, there's so much detail in there, and it actually looks not as wonky as my school tables that I've been drawing. So
I'll tell you what though, something that was really, really helpful is, I think I mentioned this earlier, Clip Studio has perspective rulers.
Yes.
Like you literally just drop the perspective ruler in, you drag like the left line and the right line, and then everything you draw after that will like stick to the guidelines so that it's in the right place.
Okay, I need to learn that.
Yeah. Let's do a Doki Doki drawing video and show you how to do it.
Yes. I think a couple of people watching right now would find that really helpful too. I would find it really helpful. Let's do that, please.
Yeah, actually, I need to doing one on like making the panel cutters.
In terms of time, it took me like an hour and a half, and I was like kind of down on myself after that, because after I do this panel, I was like, oh my god, I'm never gonna finish it by the deadline for this, which is the reason why page 2 doesn't have any lines. Like I didn't do any line art for that. This has line art, but there's not as much detail in the backgrounds.
Before you flip, go back to that one page. What I really enjoyed also was the situation comedy. They say, Shoshan, let's get married. And then they're kind of that silent panel when no one talks. That
Thanks. Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Get married. Yeah, I'm really impressed. Holy moly, we all did completely different things, but hey, it's coming together real nice.
On average, after I decided to just force myself to just work really, really fast, I was like, okay, I'm gonna come up to a panel. Like, for example, after this, if I continue like finishing it up, I'll probably go up to a panel like this, brush it up in maybe like 10 minutes, and then I'll try and throw the lines in about 10 minutes, and then do the screen tone in about 10 minutes. Like, if I don't work at that pace, then I won't be able to like finish this manga and do my job at the same time.
Right.
But I think if you were a full-time mangaka and you were doing this like all day long, then you could afford to work slower, I think. Absolutely.
Right.
That's one of the things I've been wondering.
Yeah.
This is what we did in a month, but we still want to brush them up, make them better, get some advice. So instead, did we learn from this experience that with our daytime jobs at the same time, we can make a manga in a month to a certain level, but I think if we have one manga over 2 months, we might be able to complete them better.
Personally, I don't know about you two. I think personally I would just procrastinate more. I would
I
procrastinate
was
until
gonna
the
say.
second month, and then I would do it all in the same amount of time.
I was about to say that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like actually,
Yeah.
I think that would work against me, to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So
All right. So we're sticking with the one manga per month thing. We're sticking with it.
You know when you were saying like, are you deciding to have this like be a continuing manga? Or it's like episode 1, or is it all inclusive? It really doesn't bother me what you guys do. Personally, like I like to make manga that are part of a big manga, but I probably will never draw episode 2 of this.
Gotcha. No, that makes
Okay.
sense. That makes sense. The first way I've thought about approaching this is it's a bunch of different one-shots that if you choose to later go back into,
Yeah.
do it too.
That's all for that.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I really appreciated that you A, took on the Shojo prompt, and B, took on the love confession prompt. So that was my month. So I'm gonna pass the ball over. I think every month one of us should give the other ones a challenge. So I'm gonna be quiet now. I did Shojo. I'm happy you did love confession. I'm happy.
For March, I mean, of all the themes that we could do, the most obvious one is graduation and things ending, because that's the time scale in Japan and manga in general is like things end in March, and you know it's like it's scary, but it's also like exciting.
Yeah, you just do graduation. That's fine.
a strong one, because if you think about it, there are people who graduate from school, there are people who graduate from bad habits, there's people who graduate from things like Lolita fashion. There are people in Japan actually say, I graduated from Lolita fashion.
Yes.
But graduation comes in a lot in Japanese things.
Say it a
You can
lot,
even
don't
graduate from like liking one thing or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think graduation can be a very powerful tool.
they? It's also good for social pressure. You can like tell people, shouldn't you just graduate from that now?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just do graduation then, and then go from there.
Graduation.
Next month it's graduation.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm graduating from. I'm graduating from doing this project. See you later. Bye.
Later.
Just kidding.
Well, from wearing dark clothes, from now on I'm only going to wear colorful pastels.
I will always wear
Oh.
dark clothes.
All right, Edgelord.
Edgelord, that's right. Well, even if you're into
Graduating
that
from
still.
playing with my hair, which I've been playing on non-stop during this video because I can see myself on the screen and go like, my French. Everyone, peace!
No, I don't.
Please like and subscribe.
I
Don't
don't-
forget to check out the other videos in the playlist to follow our journey, and feel free to color and draw along with us. Our next topic is going to be graduation. The time's ticking now. Join us, do the thing, put the pen to paper. Let's do it.
Bye.
Hey.